I think I'm set up and ready to go. I think we're ready to do the thing. Um, I know I said that there was a very high possibility of me not streaming tonight. Um, that's because there was a high possibility of me not streaming tonight. But that didn't mean a non-zero chance of me not streaming. Um, Plans changed a little bit. So I'm here. And I think, I hope that we're gonna finish it out. Arcade, hi. Hey, that picture earlier was very cute. Very unexpected and it's precious. And it may or may not be my Discord profile picture now. Thank you for that. How are you doing? I love you. Listen. I appreciate you so dang much. My incredibly talented, incredibly lovely, fantastic friend, Arcade Kitten. Um, cute. No, I love it. I love it. It's like it's very strange for me just cuz like I don't think you've done a picture of me before with like my hair as long as it is and blonde and it's really cute. I like it. You did a lovely job. Hey. You're very talented. Just need you to know that. No, it was a lovely, lovely, wonderful surprise. I was sitting in the living room with my dad, and we were like listening to some music and stuff, and I like got the notification, the like email and Patreon notification, being like, "Hey, Arcade Kitten just posted." I was like, "Oh, I want to see this," and I definitely got a little teary-eyed. It was very precious. I will slowly but surely dye my hair every color for you. I'll stop doing exclusively purple, just so that we can get this done. A cache for every color. No, no, it was very sweet. How are you doing though? How's it going? I have some big news. That like, I don't want to say I don't think anyone else will care, but like, I don't think it's as impactful for everyone else as it is for me. But like, I've more or less started the process of getting approved to have a hysterectomy, and I am so excited. Like, between resolving some of the medical issues that I have, and also just being incredibly gender affirming for me, yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so stoked. Um, you're tired, which is why you're happy to be chilling here and playing Animal Crossing. I need to know who your villagers are. Hey, you have to tell me who your villagers are. Also, don't be jealous. One day, if it's what you want, you too can have what I have. This is literally something that I've been fighting for like physical medical reasons for the last almost 10 years now. And I realize now that it's also been like again like a gender affirming thing for me for a while, but I like it hasn't been until like the last couple of years that I like really understood what exactly like the feelings of discomfort were surrounding having a uterus. I don't want to get too into it. Maybe at some point, one day. But yeah, for now it's mostly just like it's been a long time coming. And today I like went in and I like knew that it was gonna be like a consultation essentially, just to be like, hey, like let's discuss if this is a thing that like I should do. It's a thing that I want to do and I think I should do it, but you know, being used to having to fight doctors about it, was one of those like, okay, I'm gonna have to like lay out all these reasons and go through it. And I went in and yeah, the doctor was just like, okay, like I've already read over all your stuff. I think that this is like if you also think that this is it, I think that this is a great solution. And yeah, let's go over some pre-op stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do that. So I have some hoops to jump through for insurance reasons. But like, yeah, like once I get some of that stuff done, I will have a date. We'll be able to schedule a day, and I'm just like, your villages are Flora, Olivia, Dreamy, Diana, Vesta, Olaf, Lucky. I love Lucky. Canberra, Roscoe, Tank. I love Tank. And Lobo! I love Lobo. You have amiibo cards for Olivia, Vesta, Kiki, Lucky, and Marcel? That makes sense. In case you ever want to switch them out. I approve of this. Also, no, like 100%. As soon as like we are going to have a party is the thing. We are gonna have a Yeeterus party. A Yeeterus party. Just as soon as I once I have a date. Once I have a date for the surgery, we will definitely like throw a party. Like genuinely. I don't know if we'll do it on stream or if it's gonna be in Discord or what, but like it's gonna happen because like already like the amount of relief that I am feeling emotionally just from knowing that like there is an end in sight for this. So good. So good. But yeah, that's what was going on this morning and why I was like I had a doctor's appointment and it was very good. Honestly, like a lot of the doctor's appointments that I've had as of late have just been like really great. Okay, listen. I was told that I wouldn't be able to keep it because it does need to go in for like just as like a general thing that they do. It does have to go in for a biopsy after removal. And so no jars with googly eyes. And I was a little disappointed because like what a you know, an icebreaker that would be. It'd go so well next to my other preserved things. When you got your wisdom teeth taken out, they didn't even let you keep them. You just had a picture of it. Horrible. Yeah, I also wasn't allowed to keep my wisdom teeth, and I was very upset about that. Just let me keep my body bits. I just want them for very normal human reasons. That's why you're so unwise. I would argue the opposite. None wisdom teeth. I was trying to find a way to like combine wisdom and teeth. Weeth. I hate that. I hated that. I regret saying that. That's not a thing. We're being very silly today. No, like I said, like the last couple of doctor's appointments that I've had, have been like really, really wonderful. And a couple of them, like I was not certain about going into them, and came out just incredibly satisfied and very happy. Yeah, so I guess just for all my friends out there, if you have to deal with doctor nonsense, there are good ones. I promise. It's a whole thing to try and find them, but they are there. They do exist. Yeah, I'll go into it more at some point. I'm still like in the processing phase of just being like but yeah, no, exactly. Just like Dr. Reginald Petra. I've been thinking about playing Blackout Hospital again. Just like on my own time, just to do it. I got my like the like end of year Steam nonsense or whatever. And apparently Blackout Hospital is one of my top played games. I meant to like send that to you earlier. And then I forgot because, you know, there's a lot happening at all times. But I thought it was very cute. It just worked out that way. It just happened to work out that way. But I thought it was precious, and I wanted to be like, hey look, your number one fan is here. No, Fran. It's me, your number one Fran. Sorry, we're just silly goofy time over here right now. No, I'm just in like a really good mood. I'm exhausted. I'm beat. Honestly, my appointment was like at 8 o'clock this morning, and we got there like a little bit early, and they let us in early. I think like we got in by like 7:50 or something like that. But like from the time that we like got in, it took like an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. It was a long appointment, but like so good. It was wild. But like I don't know if anybody else has that, but like you deal with a doctor and like no matter how like good or basic the appointment was, you're just beat afterwards. That was me today. I'm still that way, but it's exhausting. But again, very good. And just like having all of like, you know, the high emotions of just being like, oh, this is a thing was, you know, it's tiring. But not so tired that I can't play Alan. Hey, y'all want an Alan? Oh, hang on. I did. Wait, no, I captured it. Why is it not capturing? There it is. Why is it framed like this? Why did it get moved? Alan, why are you wiggling? You want an Edgar Allan Poe? Oh, I get it. Because Alan. Like Alan Wake? Like the man in the video game? Oh boy, that's kind of loud. Is that fine? Is that fine compared to me? How is that? Where?
Tom.
Right, I remember.
We need to get to our next gig.
Our
We're doing
boys.
this for you and our lovely saga. You take care.
Sorry, I wanted to see
of
if it
things
was
on
lagging a little bit.
this side. Going up, Tom.
I'd seen it all play out.
Our boys are going into the overlap?
The Dark Presence held all the cards now.
Hold on. Why? I want Tor and Odin to be okay because I love them. Somebody else was hooting and hollering over here. Estevez! Alan in the water column. Alan, wave! I mean,
back, Wake.
it is an ocean,
You are
not a
awake
lake.
now, right? With the shadow out of you.
Hi, am I
Some good
awake?
news, at least.
Am I
Bad
awake?
news is I haven't seen a
Awake?
situation this fucked since the AWE in Eagle River.
What happened in
The
Eagle
shadow's now
River?
on Alex, and Anderson is gone. We need to figure out how to salvage this.
I wonder if they cover that in Control. I'd be very curious about that. What can I do to help?
Anything it takes to fix this, Agent Estevez. I'm the reason this is all happening.
It's never that simple. I should have put you in a box and shipped you off to a containment
They
facility the second I
Genuinely
realized
miss. I mean, I'm sure they did it intentionally,
The
but
only
in
question
Control, when they're
now
like, they're the AWEs
are you
and
able to fix
and
this?
OOPs,
could
where it's
try.
like, why aren't you just calling it
Most
aw
encouraging
and
answer, but we'll
ooh?
make it work.
Like, if I had to refer to objects of power and altered world events all the time, I would absolutely just be calling them oops and ahs all the time
Scratch.
because it's very
The
silly.
Dark Presence inside Casey. It threw Saga into the lake. If she ends up in the dark place, she could be there forever. It took me
Well,
13 years to get out.
Let's not
Zane
let
never
Saga
did.
get there.
Tor and Odin went in after her, right? Maybe they'll get her out.
Oh,
With the
no.
power of rock and roll.
Well,
saw
I
them
mean,
when I was
maybe.
trapped there. They performed in my musical.
I'm immediately less optimistic about this.
Sonic the Hedgehog named her government agency Gun? Listen,
What's
you
the
can't
situation?
do that.
I've never seen an entity break a bureau containment unit like that. And now the Dark Presence is occupying Agent Casey?
Can't name
When it attacked him in
government
the woods,
agency
it must
Gun.
have been preparing for this.
And now
Can't
he's
do
the
it.
clicker.
I don't believe it. I think I
Scratch
can
will
fix
go to
this.
Bright Falls and use the clicker to bring about the horrific ending he wrote for Return.
Also,
But I
what
can
was
still fix
sniffly?
this.
How?
Scratch must have the
All I have is some paper
manuscript.
towels.
If I can read the ending, I can rewrite
They
it.
shot a little
need to go
girl
after
to
him.
death. My
won't get
god.
very far
Is that in
without
Shadow the Hedgehog? That
This
sounds
plan
like a
is
Shadow
Hail, Hail
thing.
Mary Wake.
Yep, okay, there we go.
This is all on you.
I was gonna say, Shadow is
I got you
definitely like
every kind
their
of
edgy
weapon we have
edgelord, edge boy.
Don't fuck it up.
So, okay. Estevez, can I have my guns?
I need
Am I
your
gonna have to
car.
like
The
remap
FBI
everything?
vehicle would be at the parking lot.
Yeah, because it's not all of the same things that I had before. Oh, Alan. What were you doing, buddy? What was that? Sonika's shadow is only really redeemed by Amy trying to reassure him that people are good and she just says nonsense. People are good. They pet cats sometimes. Oh, people, they have dreams and stuff. They're kind of quirky, but still good. Basically, they pet cats and do taxes. And that means a whole lot. It's very silly. I've not played, horrible flares. I've not played many, if any, of the Shadow game, or like any of the Sonic games. Wow, they've like really just taken all my shit from me, huh? But I do have Shadow the Hedgehog downloaded, and I meant to like play it at some point. I cannot say I'm surprised that you were a Sonic child. Not that that's a bad thing. But you know, this feels right. Probably influenced all your characters being animals now. I can see that. That tracks. This makes sense. Goodness. We love your characters, though. They're sweet, precious babies.
Clear-headed for the first time.
Even the ones that aren't sweet, precious babies.
I was back
I love
exactly
them
where
all.
I left. A dark forest outside Great Falls. A gun in one hand, a flashlight in the other.
Okay,
Haunted
Alan.
by my own writing. Alice, take it from me.
It has like 10 endings.
Stop the horror
I might have to do this in Discord sometime.
Stop the dark
Subject
presence.
everyone to Shadow. Make everyone suffer with me, basically. Also, this wind is going buck wild right now. Do I not? I don't have a map. Which I guess makes sense as Alan. But I would like to be able to see where I am going. Which, I mean, the game is just telling me is not allowed. Excuse me. Who? Alan? Alan, what was that? Alan, what was that? What was this move? Okay, that's that man taken care of. Because there's so many endings, technically like over 300 possible routes, it sounds actually ridiculous. Also, can I... Wow, this sucks. Like a whole lot. Sorry, Alan has shit for health. And has like... I had so much stuff in the dark place, and I know that we're not there anymore, and that Alan wouldn't necessarily be able to bring all that stuff with him here. But I am upset that, like, they've taken all of that away from me. He should get hit points instead of shit. Tallying your health via poop, kind of a bad idea. Maybe don't do that. But listen, it's Alan, and he is a fool. Where? I hear someone behind me. Ooh, where? Ugh! Alan?
Night poker game! Big smile!
Okay. This is fine. We're doing great. Maybe not as great as I would have liked. Alan? Okay. My friend Arcade is behind me. Going, late night poker game! Which is a very silly thing to say, but you know what? You're kinda silly sometimes. In a good way. We appreciate, sorry. We're just gonna be silly, goofy guys today. Total goofball. It's true. Such a little scamp. Alan, why are you... Hey, bud, why were you looking behind you? There was no one there, I think. No. I don't want the flare. We don't want flares. It's like that SpongeBob song. You're a spooky goober, yeah. We're all spooky goobers, yeah. Spooky, spooky goober, goober, yeah. Oh. This is too many guys, I think. Ow! Let's just, listen, we have a lot of these, is the main thing. Oh god. Oh my god, somebody is dribbling over there. Oh, Alan, baby, we gotta talk about your health. And the lack of health that you have. Okay, please reload. Oh, Alan, you did! You reloaded! Good job, buddy! Okay, if you ever get turned into a zombie, that's your zombie fit forever. It's true. You gotta remain fashionable. Make sure you always look your best. Or at least what you're most comfortable in. Because you're gonna be stuck like that for a very long time. Hi, Barracks. I do, look, Alan needs to do a lot of things. Some of which, oh, come on, please. Some of which includes waking up. Some of which includes shooting and reloading, and aiming, and getting rid of the dark presence. And honestly, I think we all really just want him to stop being a stinky man.
When I was pulled back,
Just a
there,
stinky
crossing over,
guy.
made it dormant.
And a bad writer.
couldn't
He needs to
remember
stop
what
being
happened,
those things,
I could
but
feel it,
I don't know that he's
stronger,
gonna.
waking up.
How are you
thought it was
doing,
hunting me,
pal? How's it
closing in.
going?
It was inside me the whole time,
Also,
and
what
then
is
it
he
took
saying?
over. Turned me into scratch.
Alan, this is because you're weak. We know this. Alan, go to the DMV and wait for 5 hours only to realize he forgot a piece of ID and has to return at a later date. Oh my god. Sorry, that hit a little too close to home. I am in this post and I do not like it. That was me the last time I had to get my ID updated. I had forgotten to bring, like, literally anything with me. So I had to make the poor people sit there while I, like, scrolled on my phone to find, like, literally any of my, like, bills, so I could be like, please, this is my address. I am me. I just want to update my address. They didn't want me to, though. We got it worked out. In the end. Okay, Alan, where are we going, buddy? I don't appreciate the fact that I don't have a map. I think I recognize where I am, though. You got your first license. Why are we stuck? Alan? Okay. Remember when you got your first license renewal? It was right before you turned 21, so it still had the vertical license? Ah! Oh my god, I still have my pre-21 license around here somewhere. They wanted me to get rid of it, and I was like, no, I looked too good in that picture. I can't use it anywhere. But it was like, damn good photo for an ID. Oh my god, I'd forgotten that they were vertical.
Help me escape.
Wild.
She succeeded. It cost her everything.
Captions,
I used
we are
Alex Casey in my writing for years. The real Casey
we are not
had been drawn
synced.
here because of that. Now he was a victim too. Saga, Casey, Alice.
So where's my
all
chapstick?
this horror originates from
Oh my
me.
god.
It's my fault. Scratch had to be stopped. I've driven down this road before.
The strong
driving on it
resting
forever.
bitch face is very funny. My new one looks so weird with
If
these
Scratch
like
had
doing the
brought the
weird
dark
like
place
half
here,
smile.
This would take me back inside.
I don't like it. And they wouldn't let me retake it either. And I was just
In
like,
2010, I dived
okay.
in. A leap of faith for Alice. With no idea that the cost would
Captions
be
are
a
synced
nightmare
again.
worse than death.
Right? Yeah, so my new license is a
It had
little
taken
less
me
than
13 years
great.
to get out. Now Alice was dead. Because of me.
Also,
And I was gonna make that leap
Probably done
again,
this a
this
little too
time
late.
knowing the cost all too well. Another way to look at it, I had brought the dark place here with me. I never had gotten out. Maybe after this I finally could. It was a fool's hope. I had no choice. I had to do it. That didn't make me any less terrified. Fuck it.
Whoa. I have been like madly in love with the visuals of this game so far. Like, and the story is goofy as fuck, but it's been so fun. Deerfest! Deerfest is happening! Deerfest! It's Deerfest, everyone! Deerfest!
Unexpected.
It's Deerfest, Alan! Get excited! Sorry. Listen, when we ended last time, what's his name? Tom?
Tricks the reader into believing
No, Pat. Pat Main was like, oh, you know, Deerfest is canceled, and I was genuinely upset about that. We love Deerfest. I just heard somebody go, Deerfest! That's me. That's me. I am Deerfest. I am Deerfest, man.
Return shines a light on its author's brilliant.
Oh, it's, the Bookers. Everyone is where I literally just recognized, sorry, I'm a little slow on the uptake. Everyone is wearing that deer mask. Is that one of our boys? One of the boys that died? Mulligan and or Thornton?
This motherfucker is a home run.
Excuse me? It's just their faces. They're just deer people. I'm sorry, I didn't.
Knows his fans and never lets them down.
Okay. Oh, is that Aughty song playing? Is that Aughty?
The novel begins
No.
as a murder mystery that pulls the rug out from under and turns into
It's some of the
Spellbinding tour de force.
nursing friends. Nursing home friends.
Saga and Casey will go down as
Pat
literature's
Bean!
best law enforcement duo.
Hi! I love you, Pat!
The salt shaker story had me rolling on the floor.
And I can't remember her name, but she was kind of she was kind of rude. Coffee friends! Are you gonna say anything?
Worlds and characters echo each
No,
other in
okay.
unique and surprising ways. The overlap scenes in particular are rich examples of this theme.
Yeah. Listen, some of the bits of the character models were clipping through.
Losing her family is a blatant commentary
Oh
on a
God,
woman's
her
struggle to
jaw.
balance her personal and professional lives.
Ma'am, why you mouth do that? Oh, it's the float from before. We got the creepy giggles. That's exciting. Sir, is your mask even on your face?
Departure is one-upped by
Norman!
the absolutely
You have-
mind-frying
Norman, you have to put some
dark
pants
ocean
on.
Summoning.
What is your name? Something May. We liked her. She was great. Are your hands good?
In which Saga
Her hands
is
are fine.
left to die in the lake is modern horror at its Highness!
Dearman needs to put on some pants, please. Please.
Setting the
Oh god, there's more of them.
conclusion at Deerfest. Oh, makes return a genre-bending mixture of fact and fiction.
Okay. Sorry, I am like very curious as to what everyone's gonna say, even though it is all like very like AI generated book review. Just in that it's like incredibly just generic. Ilmo? Is this, are we, this lady is just, okay, no, you need to stop, oh god, they're all looking at me. Okay, we're gonna go. I was curious to know if, like, any of the people that had died were back here, but it does not seem to be the case. Let's look at book.
I could see the round
hello,
windows
book.
of the writer's room in the photo.
Oh god.
That's where I had to go. To rewrite the ending of Return.
Oh!
Sick story, and I love it.
Me, after reading a good horror book. Me, after reading, Girl Flesh by May Leeds.
I could get out through the back.
It's a sick story, and I loved it. Can we not stab me? Okay, so if I get caught by any of them, it's just, we're just done so. Understood. Well, here's the thing. I didn't know that the man was going to be in the corner. So we don't do that. We go wide. Game, would you like to load? Consider? Thank you. Can I can skip. Great. We don't need to see that again. Oh, good.
I could get out through the back.
We're a book! Oh boy, it's me, Alan Wake, a book! Well, I think you should take that with you, rather than using it as
I had the
a
book now.
barricade.
I could write my ending to Return. I had to get to the writer's room to stop this horror story.
He wasn't a man. He was a book. I'm still reeling over the
This was
the
an
Nightless Night
obsessive,
movie from
egocentric
Monday.
nightmare, all
In
revolving around
Alan,
a vain,
where they're like, it's
monster
not a
writer and his
loop,
final
it's a
divine
spiral.
work of
They
art.
know exactly what they
The
did, and I
novel
hate
Return
it.
come true. It wouldn't stop here. It would keep spreading.
Is this the nursing home? Sorry, he might have said that, and I was too busy talking over it. I just got really excited is all. It is!
I needed to reach the writer's room. Right in
That's
the
her voice.
conclusion was Scratch's insecure need for fame, for praise, drawn from my psyche. I would bring his sick fantasy crashing down around him.
I'd be curious to come back here at a, like, earlier in the game and see if those windows are there. Because I don't remember. But that'd be cool. I mean, either way, if they are or aren't, it's neat. Regardless, I like it. Can I go in here? Probably not. Okay,
I had
excuse
to
you,
find
Scratch.
another way inside.
Rude. You can just say no entry. You don't have to scream at me. Do I have to go through the basement? Oh, I probably have to go through the like hospital bit, huh? Alice!
What was that?
That was
Alice was
Alice!
dead.
That was
Was
your
this a trap?
dead wife!
Or was Scratch torturing
Have
me?
you seen my dead wife? Have you seen my wife Alice? She died. She wrote me a letter telling me to come to our special place. But stupid joke, I'm sorry. You know what? No, I'm not sorry, actually. I thought it was fun. Alice? Where? There she! Alice, my love! You deserve better than Alan. He is a bad man. Yeah, everything's like very wiggly. There she is. It's kind of, would you consider it blackout? Oh, 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 oh! Oh! Oh, oh, oh! Kind of blacked out. Sorry, I need Mr. Alex Casey, the Sam Lake, to leave me alone.
Fuck off!
Okay, scratch. Fuck! I went the wrong way. I still feel like I'm going the wrong way. I am not.
Here, Ellen. It's safe here.
Rose! Hi! How are you doing?
We're safe in the light, Ellen. For now. But he's very pushy.
Rose, right? From the diner. How are you here?
I'm here to save you, silly.
I
I got you instructions. I found every hidden message you left for me.
love Rose.
In the radio,
She's
in the wind,
very
in the
wiggly.
forums on my Alan Wake fan site.
What? No, Rose, I haven't been leaving you any messages.
Oh, I get it. Yes, Alan, only a crazy person would think you've been leaving them secret messages. Wink. But now you need to get your butt upstairs, Alan. This shit won't right itself, no matter what William Shakespeare said.
Right. Thank you, Rose. I'll do what I can.
How? Okay. I'm not gonna question anything. It's fine. Rose is here. And, that makes me happy. She's just gonna stand there, though, huh? Okay, well,
Upstairs.
that's fine.
The writer's
Is
room
Ahti
must
here?
be in the attic. That's where the windows were.
I would like to know if Ahti is here. He's probably not, but I love Ahti.
We'll look around and come together, Tom.
My beautiful boy!
I have put everything ready for the visitors. I'll come to wash the floor of your room next.
You are gonna let us
All
in?
you need is
Also, her name was
water
Mandy May. I
and
remembered.
Vileda.
Well, I saw it.
Water
Ahti.
is the oldest bulb. Water finds its way. What water brings,
Water,
takes away.
finds a way.
it can be clean or dirty. It can keep life or
Sorry, I'm just
drown
gonna
it.
channel
Ahti.
my inner Dr. Malcolm.
I didn't
from
expect
Jurassic
to
Park.
see you here, but it makes sense.
Ahti.
Can you help me find my way? One last time.
Now there's a devil in the fish trap. Don't be spooked by it so that shit won't start beating your underpants.
Excuse me. What does that mean?
Okay. I'll get the door open for you, Tom.
I love Ahti's, like,
There you
sayings.
go. The matter is the steak. Now comes the end of the rhyme.
Thank you, Ahti.
Like my assumption at least, is that they are, like, you know, Finnish sayings, but being translated into English, they just sound very strange, but, like, I'm here for them. I love them. Oh, hey. We're here
I was
now.
here. I needed to write the ending. I only had one chance to get this right.
But I want to go back to Deerfest.
I needed an ending that took everything already in return and extended it into a conclusion that would save us. Only the perfect ending would
This is
work.
the room you write in. It's a little... Well, the novel Return come true! My final divine work of art. Eternal Deerfest! First granted to the people of Bright Falls, and over time it would spread. The celebration reaching everyone. So it's pretty spacious, huh? Is your writing room? I wouldn't hate it.
Return's ending was an eternal Deerfest that would keep spreading.
Yeah.
In time, Scratch would plunge the world into his nightmare. I had to stop that from happening. I had to write one more chapter for
Yeah, so
Return.
do it.
A perfect ending that would save us all. I was the only one who could write it. Everything depended on this. On me.
Okay, then write it, Alan.
Any second now, Scratch would burst through that door and stop me.
That
Every fart
fucking
thread
word
dangling in
you're
my brain.
ending, Alan!
It suddenly felt impossible. Something stirred in the room, coming to me.
Oh my goodness.
An idea.
Ooh, Echo! go. Hold on.
The ending has to fit the genre if it's going to work.
Oh, it's Saga.
In a horror story, there's only victims and monsters. If there is Arrow, they will ultimately pay a heavy price.
Write me $1 gazillion.
I won't let the horror
please.
story take Logan and Casey. They were dragged into this. They need to survive. Non-negotiable.
Not just them. We need to try to save everyone.
I'm trying to keep the plot board from showing up.
The ending will have to be dark no matter what. The more people we save, the greater the cost. And the hero must pay the price.
It better fucking be Alan.
Scales always need to balance.
I don't want Saga to be hurt. I like Saga. She's pretty cool. Still convinced that her daughter's like been
Something
dead prior
felt
to the
different.
story, but
I'd
like
never seen myself in a vision before, but it fit. Saga and I were both at the center of this story. She was now my co-author.
listen. What
This
does
was
Alan
the
have to
beginning
live
of the
for?
end.
Really?
We were characters in a horror story, charging blindly towards the finale. We still didn't have everything we needed. This would not work without the clicker.
Okay. Are we gonna get to be Saga again? The final Deer Fest. I'll get the clicky. Such a goofy name for a thing. I like it. It's this whole thing. All of this has been very silly, and I've loved it.
No!
I'm very bad at swapping over in time. I'm sorry.
What's going on?
We don't need my stupid face on cutscene
Am I in
for
the
playing,
field
though.
office?
We are in the
No.
field office, Saga. Kind of.
It's the mine place.
Same difference, really. I mean,
My work. It's all gone.
Okay.
What
that's
the hell is
it.
happening?
In that case, my face is gonna be too distracting during the cutscenes. Ooh, television. Why is it
Nothing's working. I can't think straight.
on? I mean,
Where is everything? I
it's
can't
not great.
sense anyone.
Everyone just looks at me and is so distracted. Can I leave?
I can't leave.
Oh.
Why can't I leave?
Everyone's just too busy going, oh, when I'm driving around.
Calm down, Saga.
No, no
Just
calm.
think. Figure it out on the board.
Oh, well, I mean,
Like
okay.
I always do.
If that's what you want to do, Saga.
The Dark Presence took over Casey, stole the clicker from me.
I might need to
The
grab
last
some
thing I remember is him
crackers. My
throwing
tummy's
me
a
into
little
Cauldron
upset.
Lake. I'm in the dark place. I'm lost.
Destroy yourself. Yeah,
I have
Saga,
to get
destroy
out.
yourself a
I don't know
key.
what to do. That wasn't me. Was it?
Also, I'm so sorry. It
What?
did get a little chilly.
Failed who?
What's happening
hold
to the
on.
case board?
I'm gonna pause for a hot second. I do need to grab a sweater real fast. I've never seen a diner have a sweater before, but oh man, do we want it to be a regular thing? I specifically want an Oh Dear Diner sweater. I would wear the ever living shit out of that thing. It'd be so good. Sorry. Oh, I'm gonna fall over. Okay, perfect. Yeah, sorry. It just got like super chilly in here all of a sudden. And I needed to wear my oversized hoodie. Because it's important to wear oversized hoodies. I also need my t-shirt to like stop trying to choke me. That'd be nice. Arcade, you can't keep making my space cold like this. It's too chilly. Also, what happened? What just happened? This is a dark place. I'm in danger. I have to get out of here. Scratch took the clicker. Scratch threw me into Cauldron Lake. Other saga. I'm in the dark place. I'm lost. I don't know how to get out. I don't know what to do.
Dark place. I'm lost.
How do I leave? You failed.
I don't know how to get out.
Okay. Hey, can we profile? We can profile the other saga. That picture's horrifying.
The board says I failed them. Who's that?
A little creepy.
I let everyone down. Logan, Casey, myself. This is my fault. My daughter is dead. My partner was taken over by a monster. I'm trapped in the dark place. Powerless.
I'm not powerless. What is happening here? This isn't me.
I mean, Scratch is just trying to play some mind games with you, right? Trapped in the
Casey.
deer place. We found all the deer. I was very excited about that.
And I let him down. I wasn't watching his back. I got wrapped up chasing the wrong lead. He needed me. Now he's turned into a monster.
I'm gonna stay here for a second while we
He
do the
needed
other one
me.
as well.
Logan.
I neglected my family for my job. I was too thrilled by the cases, the mysteries. I liked how dangerous the work was. And now that danger has destroyed my family. It killed my daughter.
I mean,
No.
I don't know that that's true. Ooh, can we...
Something's
Oh,
very
no.
fucking wrong here.
Right, we,
I am a terrible mother. I let my daughter die.
Listen.
Scratch took Casey, and it's my fucking fault.
Other saga,
I'm a
it's
failure.
okay.
This is what I deserve.
Listen, mistakes happen. Also, I'm not currently streaming with Fruity. Oh, that's just gonna wander around. Sorry, hold on. Forgot to turn that off. You should go check out Fruity's channel if you haven't. But also, Fruity is not here right now. Casey is a monster now. You fucked everything up. She's dead because of you. It's almost like I can hear them now. Oh! Can I...
Scratch.
Oh, fuck off, Scratch.
He's using Casey now. Like he used Wake.
Yeah, but I wanted to... Oh! 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 Sorry, I did not like that picture. We all know I have a...
My life.
Have an
my
issue.
family is just part of a book. Another white asshole deciding
Have
what
an
I
issue
get
with
to
distorted
do,
faces.
how I get to do it.
Fruity helped me with your drawing earlier
He
because
took
I was
my
like, Fruity,
daughter
help me
from
get a
me.
reference because
I'll
they
never be free of the
they
story
reminded
from
you that
him.
mods exist.
He used her.
Oh, it's precious. Sorry. Y'all are cute. Both of you. Oh my god. Sorry, that's very precious. Like, genuinely. Help. No, you got this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. Hey, did I mention I hate this? Logan died because of you.
She's
Cool,
not
but that
dead.
Logan died.
God damn it.
Logan is dead. Logan is dead. Logan is dead. Can I just keep filling this up with Logan is dead? Oh, it is progressively... Oh, shit, hold on. You're the only one who won't accept she's dead. What makes more sense? Everyone is wrong, or you are? If you hadn't been at work, she'd still be alive. She died alone and scared, begging you for help, and you weren't there. As the water filled her lungs, she realized you weren't coming. Jesus! That picture is, like, slowly getting darker. Can you even still call yourself a mother after you let your only child die? Fucking hell.
No! I'm done with this. It just keeps coming back.
You're blaming a horror story instead of yourself, you coward. Admit she's dead and you killed her. You killed her, you killed her. I mean, listen, I've been sitting over here being like, I'm pretty sure Logan's been dead from the beginning, but even if it happened while Saga was working on a case, that's not her fault. Great, cool. I was hoping I didn't have to look at Casey's horrible distorted face, but I do. We have an even number, it cancels out, and she's not dead. Logan is dead. Logan is not. Logan is dead. Sorry. Your fault he got hurt? Casey's gone, it's your fucking fault. Okay. I mean, none of those options were great, right? Like, can't profile anymore. Night Springs!
Night Springs. Logan and David love that show. Their weekly ritual.
Okay. Is there... While I'm here...
This case. This room. Is any of it even real?
Okay. What's this?
Casey was hurt. I should have been watching his back.
Okay, but also, Saga... He kind of wasn't going with you, you know?
Casey was being corrupted and I did nothing.
Cold case, Casey. Okay, let's see. Injury report, Alex Casey, FBI, description of injury, 2218. Subject seems physically weakened with some confusion about his whereabouts and events. Concussion? Similar symptoms to those becoming shaded individuals. Exposure to the shadow is suspected, but not confirmed. You knew he was hurt, you knew the dark presence did something to him, and you didn't care. You only pretended to care when it was convenient, and the second he became a liability, you let Scratch have him. Horrible.
Scratch was Wake. How could I miss that?
Well, I mean, there was a lot going on, and there was a lot of weird information you were taking in, so... transcript of interview with subject Alan Wake, suspected para-utilitarian. I think we read this one. You've been taken into FBC custody and will receive an in-depth interrogation at a later date. Yeah, we read this one. There were so many hints. How did you miss this? Wake was Scratch. It was right under your nose. Wake was Scratch. Scratch was Wake. Scratch, Wake. Scratch, Wake, Scratch, Wake. I mean... Yeah, she should have seen that one. I mean, we did. I did. Fruity and I kind of called that, like, super early.
I never should have trusted these.
Well, to be fair, we didn't really read any of the manuscripts because I didn't want the spoilers. So I said, we'll read those later. And then we didn't. So, what can you do? Okay. Took Logan away from her father. You were a terrible mom?
Why is this happening?
You took her from David and stuck her in a backwater shithole. Okay. That would go in the you're losing your mind. Shadow monsters, false realities, magical writers? Really? He seems injured because I left him behind. It's your fault he got hurt?
Wait, what?
I mean, like, neither of these are, like, particularly great, right? Ignored.
It feels like I'm trapped in a nightmare.
Can I change?
Stuck in an echo chamber with all my fears, my doubts, my insecurities.
I should never have brought him to Cauldron Lake right to Scratch. Wake was Scratch all along and I had no idea. Okay, I didn't think I could put that in there, but I just wanted to check.
What? No.
Use manuscript pages as a crutch instead of doing my job. I mean, again, we didn't. But yeah, if we just put all the pictures up on the board, we'll solve everything. Oh! Were those there before?
It was so obvious the Koskela brothers were behind the cult.
I mean, yeah. But again, well, not again, but just in general,
the
hindsight,
cult was just
2020.
the beginning of the spiral. Logan.
So, like...
The horror story used her.
it's not beneficial
I spent too much time away from
to
Logan.
beat yourself up about stuff that, like, you missed. Yeah, you probably should have picked up on some of that.
I never
but,
should have
like,
left Casey at the hotel by himself.
What are you gonna do about it? I mean, I guess in this case, somewhat, just beat yourself up. Don't do that. Learn from it. Move on. Okay. I abandoned my partner to investigate my own. You were a terrible partner?
What the hell?
Logan was alone. Logan's death broke something inside of me. Nope. Okay. Oh, sorry. That goes in sagas. You've lost your mind?
I hate this, but it's all true. I had tried to silence these thoughts. Focus on the case. But I can't
The
escape them anymore.
Costco brothers.
I'm drowning.
They'll sell you things in bulk.
I
Watch
need a way
out.
out before I'm dragged under.
We love the Costcolas here. They're very good. Ilmo and Yako were running a cult right under my nose. I miss Yako. Casey was wrong to put his trust in me. Not sure where they want me to put that. You were a terrible partner. Okay. Okay, time to look at more things. Ooh. Fuck.
Scratch was too much for us. I should have
Can't
made
just
Casey stay behind.
Jump scare me like that. Me? I'm yelling. Oh
No.
boy.
I'm not reading anymore.
Sokka says no books. No reading. Reading is for nerds. It's
Never
me, I'm
should have
nerds.
taken this case.
Listen, again, I understand having regrets. I understand looking back on a situation and thinking you could have done it better, but again, what good is it to, beat yourself up over
God damn
choices that you can't change? Manuscript pages can't change reality. Dark Presence took advantage of Casey's injury.
I can't do this. It's too
Well,
much.
Well, I
It's
mean,
crushing
Saga,
me.
we have to. Is the
I'm
thing
lost
to
in
progress?
this darkness.
To progress, we must.
There's no way out.
We must press ahead. Sorry, I thought I saw a thing I could interact with, but we just have to talk to the other Saga a little more. A way out?
No. There has to be a way out.
There's literally
way
no
out.
other option. You have nothing else to do, Saga.
None of this is real. I've lost it. I'm not even here. The mind place isn't real. A case about supernatural darkness. I'm having a full-on psychotic break. I dragged Logan away to a tin can in Watery. She's dead because of me. There has to be a way out.
But what if there isn't? Oh.
I need a way out. It's over.
There's no point trying.
Everything is lost. There's no way out. No way to fix this. There's no way out. I'm stuck here forever. Just me and my past. My guilt. My mistakes.
Dear.
I'm not getting anywhere. I'm stuck.
But this is my mind place.
Oh no!
My mind.
Arcade is
Everything
lost
I
in
need
ad
is here.
hell.
It has to be.
It's like 10 seconds. Don't even worry about it. Oh.
The lights.
No.
Are you
No.
back?
I'm not giving up. Focus, Saga. The answers I need are here somewhere.
I'm sorry
I
the
just
ads
have to
interrupted your dear time. Ooh, flashlight. I am so thankful I don't have to worry about battery.
It made me think of you.
Not the worst,
Okay, what are you
Mom.
doing? Don't make a big deal out of it, Mom. No hugs, no hugs.
That is kind of cute. If I were into that kind of thing.
Hey,
Exactly. The mug proves it.
just calling to say thanks for your note.
Oh, this is what Saga's
Sometimes I
mom
just
left
get in
her.
my head too much. So,
Yeah, you won't be
Thanks for
perfect, but I
coming
know
out.
you'll be amazing. Love you always,
you're really
Mom.
the best, Mom.
Imagine having a
Really.
supportive mother. Couldn't be me.
Okay.
Sorry, that was
Talk
sorry. We'll just move on from that. Thank you, Arcade. Best mom.
Hey, Mom, a charm bracelet for good luck.
We are all about found family, so you know. Also that's cute. I will say I do appreciate the fact that like thus far the family relationships in this one have been like I mean excluding Alan. We don't talk about Alan and Alice. Because it's bad for Alice. But, like, I appreciate the fact that there isn't, like, any sort of... I mean, it sucks that Logan is dead, but there didn't seem to be, like, any strain between she and her daughter. Kind of an old hat trope.
Yourself,
I don't know.
A knife in the arm.
More so with, like, dads and their children. You know, bad dad, horror trope. I was sick of it. But I've seen it with, like, parents, or just any parent. So I appreciate the fact that it's just like, nah, they had like a good relationship, just Logan fucking died. And I stand by the whole, it's not, unless Saga was actively there and didn't do anything to help Logan while she drowned, then it's not her fault. Accidents happen. But listen, it's a thing. It's a horrible trope, and I am, like, sick of it. Bottle of whiskey I gave Casey when he was in the hospital. It's your fault he got
Our
hurt?
job is dangerous. Casey himself told me that. It's no one's fault.
Yeah, I wish...
Fault.
Excuse me.
It is.
No. I wish I'd been there for Casey, but I know he wouldn't want me to blame myself for this. We can't control every outcome. He taught me that. Good! Good. Sorry, I like this. I like that we're working through all of this. These are good things.
Logan isn't anyone's plot device. She's my daughter. And she's not dead.
I mean, it would be great if she's not dead.
Dead.
But I'm pretty sure she is.
Dead.
My
I didn't
daughter
say
isn't
that.
dead, and I won't let some bullshit story convince me that I let her die. Reassuring note from my mom. Again, I would be very I would love it. She's not dead, she's just underwater. Consider, she might be in the dark place.
No. This is all real. I know it is.
Okay, I haven't lost it. Oh my god,
The
go
FBI
away.
will kick me out.
Oh fuck, I
I'll have
like
nothing.
forgot to put my face back up. Lol. It's like Shark Boy's dad and Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Is Shark Boy's dad a bad dad? Shark Boy and Lava Girl missed me by a couple of years. I just remember everyone being like, "Oh, that's the movie with baby Taylor Lautner in it," and I was just like, "Who?" Everyone's like, "The Twilight Boy." I was like, "Oh, never didn't see Twilight either." I have since seen at least the first Twilight, and I wanted to not be around for a while that was happening. Sorry, I haven't lost it, at least not yet. This is all real. This place wants me to doubt myself, but I can't. Still have work to do. Sharkboy was basically told his dad was underwater, and so he thinks his dad is dead, but actually his dad is in a submarine looking for him. I mean, they never said he was dead. That's very silly. I kind of love it. Also, Saga
It's not
wasn't a
too
bad
late.
mom.
I can
She has
still
a
save
mug
them.
to prove it.
No matter what I do, someone will get hurt. I don't know what to do.
Listen, that's
I'm
just kind of
afraid.
life.
I'm my own worst enemy. The fears in my head are
Mood.
stopping me from trying,
Mood.
from leaving.
Saga, please. I am in this post and I do not like it. I might not be the perfect mom, but I've done my best. Logan loves me and I love her. Oh. We have one more thing to find to prove that we're not a terrible detective.
I am honored by this award. Thank you.
Hey!
Must continue to improve.
Certificate
The
of
work we do here
Meritorious
is helping
Achievement to
communities,
Agent.
Pursuing the truth. It's the most important work there is.
Certificate of Meritorious Achievement to Agent Saga Anderson. Date 8/8/2019. Supervisory Special Agent Stacy Marrow. Right, this is such a, like, boring certificate. like, listen, the FBI couldn't do better than that.
I can't let this place make me question myself. I know what I'm doing.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Okay, if I were a bad detective, I'd probably be dead by now. Blaming yourself for past mistakes won't solve the case. It's true. Alright, let's get the fuck out of here. I can't keep me in this room. Oh, was that the wrong door? Is it this door? Okay, maybe I can keep me in this room. Oh, I'm missing a terrible partner one. Okay, I understand. Hey, Casey? There we go. I understand.
Anderson,
Yeah, right.
after Brad left, it was,
HBD.
it was in a bad place. You
What does
dragged me
that
to
say?
those dinners at your house with your family.
Oh, it does say Logan, okay. Sorry.
It really meant a lot.
Aww.
Thank you.
I know I've said it before, but I do love how heavily involved as a character Alex Casey is, and I adore the fact that it is Sam Lake. That just makes me really happy. Seems like a goofy dude who just really loves the projects he's working on, and I adore
it's
that.
okay to be afraid, but I can't let this end here.
I can't. I just want it to stop.
Giving up won't make this stop. Logan needs me. Casey needs me.
Okay, got scared that it was gonna be stuck there. I might not always be the best partner, but Casey trusted me. He wouldn't give up, and neither will I. Casey's still in there. I'm sure
so
of it.
close. The dark place wants me to hate myself. But I just need to get inside my own head.
Let's, get rid of that, and
I've
then
made
we're gonna bring it
mistakes.
back up.
I'll make more. But I can do better. And I can start by leaving this room.
I'm afraid it will hurt. But nothing will hurt more than not trying to save them.
It will hurt. But I will fight.
Me trying to hype myself while I leave. Hype myself up while I try to leave the house. Oops. Don't kill more kids. Ones who aren't mine. Watch out. Detective Saga Anderson is on the case. Keep this woman away from everyone. Okay, well, I can't open that door. I did get a thing, didn't I? Yeah, okay. I can leave, overcoming my doubts and fears.
The dark place tried to trap me here. The only way to leave is facing it head on.
Hide your kids,
Wait,
hide your
called it a
detective
nightmare.
partners. Because they're
I
drowning
need to dive into that
everybody
nightmare
out here.
and find a way back home.
I haven't thought about that in a minute. Holy shit. Case closed. We've done it. Dark Place tried to weaponize my anxieties against me. I won't let it turn me into a Taken. I'm stronger than that, and Logan needs me. Let's fucking go. And I can't access everything again. Not that I, like, need to. Ah! Welcome to Night Springs.
Saga, wake up.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
The
Sorry,
payphone
we're
was ringing.
here.
Somehow I knew that
I
call
won't
was
let
for
it
me.
turn me into Liam Neeson film. It's true. It's not gonna happen. Before I do anything, I only have the one gun. That is a bit of a problem. At least I have a gun.
Hello?
It's me again. You need to go to the statue of Parliament Tower Plaza. To make your ending come true, you will need what's inside the shoebox there.
Is that Alice?
The ending? A shoebox? Who is this?
I think that was Alice on the phone. Alright, let's go get the... Sorry. Friend. Breaker. Tim. Hi, buddy!
Agent Anderson.
Hi!
Is that really you? Sorry, this place likes to play
They
tricks.
said their name was
Sheriff
Phone.
Breaker?
Hey, buddy. I mean, I know what you're doing here. Am I gonna be able to get the lamp? Sorry, I'm like so distracted. I'm so pumped about being here.
What happened to you? How did you end up in the dark place?
I was brought here. Snatched away from the morgue by a man named Orland Dorr. Been trying to piece it together for... Well, it feels like a long time now.
Who's Orland
Who
Dorr?
is this Dorr person?
He's here. Somewhere. I've been seeing his face in my dreams for years. This whole thing is insane. But he is much more than he seems. He's connected to all of this.
Sorry, I love Orland Dorr. Where's Parliament Tower Plaza?
I need to get to Parliament Tower Plaza. Do you have any idea where it is?
I mean, we walked
This
through
place, it's like trying to find your way around in a dream. I've been trying to map it, but it keeps looping, shifting. Like there were many versions stacked on top of each other. There is a page. Describes Dorr finding his way through this place. I tried to follow the steps, but no luck.
Can I see that page?
Can I see that page, Tim?
Of course. In fact, it's the page I tried to give you back in the morgue in Bright Falls. Huh. Now that I think about it, maybe Dorr brought me here to keep you from reading it. Here.
I mean, Dorr is the dark presence, right? I mean, it's just another face that he's taken. It's the same
I'm gonna
as
keep looking for Dorr.
Scratch
The closer
and
I get,
Dark
the
Casey.
closer I feel to waking up. I need to find the man behind the curtain.
mean,
Orland
alright.
Dorr walked across the rain-slicked tiles of Caldera Street Plaza. He stopped at the door to the construction yard. A poster for his talk show hung there. He stepped through, willing it to take him to Parliament Tower Plaza.
I know what I need to do.
Imagine
the door to
your
Parliament
name
Tower Plaza
being
was at the
Dorr.
construction yard.
Door went to door. Door opened door. I mean, that is, you're 100% correct, Arcade. That's exactly what he said. Oh, I guess this isn't the plaza. Never mind. I understood what I had to do now. I knew how to write the ending to Departure. There is light and there is darkness. There's guilt and there's atonement. But the scales always need to balance. Everything has a price. It's a long journey through the night, back to the light. It's not a lake. It's an ocean. So goofy. So goofy. Do I have a map? Well, I can access my maps. But, in the words of Harry Mason, I don't have the map for this area. Following a typical nightmare pattern, I was late, desperately trying to reach my destination, the lighthouse. For some urgent reason, I couldn't remember. I'd been driving too fast down a coastal road to get here. Okay, well we've, I guess we found the door. We are now in the subway. Is there are things that I can have in here. Give me that. We are still ignoring all of those. When am I getting my rifle back? I would like to know when my rifle is coming back to me. I would like to know when I'm getting my sawed-off returned to me. I would love that more than anything. More than life. More than anything. Still ignoring. Listen, you can't just do that. You can't just say that. My god. But here he is. Here's Mr. Warlendor himself. Sorry, that's like so dark. In between with Mr. Door. Who'll always be searching for door puns now. This will be your specialty. So where are we going? Here. No, this is where we came from, I thought. Yeah. Is it in between because doors are in between Area 1 and Area 2? Could be. I assumed it was... I don't know what I assumed. Oh, hey, this door is kind of open. Is there anything in here I can have? Nah. Okay. Okay. I mean... Probably.
I made it. I need to get up to the street and find that statue.
No, it's okay.
Enough already.
No, honestly, I just loved him so much that I don't think I, like, put any thought into it. I was just like, door. Also... Okay, that's not an interactable. That's just, like, light reflecting off of it. We'll let them do their thing.
There's the shoebox. The clicker.
Let me drown!
And some kind of bullet.
Bullet of light!
Shining
And the
with
clicker!
light. How did the clicker get here from Washington?
Oh, fuck. I'm surprised that I managed to dodge that. Oh, fuck. Okay, okay, okay. I am concerned about the number of dudes here. So we're gonna go towards this light, because I assume I can use the clicker on it. Which would be delightful. Never mind, I cannot. But this does give me a chance to... We're just escaping. That's our option. That's what's happening here. Okay. Can I interact with this, maybe? No. Okay, so... Do I go into Parliament Tower? Sorry, I'm a little lost. Is what's happening right now. Saga? Okay, we can push that out of the way. Excuse me! Ow! Don't get lost, that's how it takens you. So true. But consider, I am bad at things. Okay, I don't have the Bullet of Light. Oh god. Or the clicker in my inventory. Do I just need to, like, get rid of these guys? Can we stop with that? Oh god. Oh, phone is ringing. Where? Oh. Hey, where phone? I think I'm walking away from it. Okay. Yeah, we're going the right way now. Saga, would you like to go just a little bit faster? So I would like that.
Yes?
Hello. You don't know me, but you need to listen.
Hold on.
Pretty sure that's Alice.
How did you know the clicker would be there?
This is important. Alan's lost. He doesn't have the
I can maybe rush it a little bit. I need her to untangle this
How am I
cord.
supposed to help him
Just
from here?
untwist it. Oh my goodness. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
So
I'm in the dark place. Wake
Alice
is in
is
Washington.
unhelpful.
I could talk to him in overlaps before.
It's true.
My mind place is more powerful than I ever knew.
Hold on.
I can try to contact him.
Concerned about the noises that are happening. Why did we turn our flashlight off? Also, Saga, if we could go to where there is a light.
My only way to contact Wake is through the mind place.
Saga, I understand.
I have to try.
But I would like to be in a safe spot, such as under this light, so that we can be in here and not get attacked. That's, also we can profile Door. Hold on.
This is the first time I've seen a page about Warlin Door. Who is he?
A door that stands between two rooms is in both. A door that can lead anywhere is everywhere. That door is the center. He governs the currents of reality.
With all the powers mixed up in this, it's hard to know who's playing who. Opening too many doors. This isn't important right now. I can look into it later.
Door, what the fuck? Hey, hold on.
The page describes him moving through the door. How can I do that?
The dark place has many faces and many names. It is a mirror, reflecting all possible realities. The family of doors have the power to shift between these realities, here and elsewhere.
If I can find a way to navigate through this nightmare, maybe I can find a way to get back home.
Is Door Saga's dad? Is Saga's dad the dark presence? See, it's because they're doors, so they can open doors, because doors. Doors open doors. Known fact. Sorry.
Alan, we need to talk about the ending.
Saga, what is this?
My mind place. I've reached out to you like this before. But I understand more about it now.
You see visions too. I used to think they were ideas, inspiration, but they're real. Just like this now. I try to use them to make the story come true.
So this is coming from both of us. Maybe that's how we could communicate in the overlaps. We could use this to stop Scratch.
First, I need the ending.
First, I need to not be an ass writer. Is there a problem?
So there's a problem with the ending?
I don't have the ending. It has to be perfect, but I don't have time to figure it out.
Arcade exactly, though.
I don't know what to do. Fuck. I'm so sorry. This whole thing is a fucking mess.
I agree. But we can still figure this out. And what exactly does perfect mean?
The elements of the ending need to come from the story's pre-existing parts. To make matters worse, this is a horror story.
Bitch, you're just writing fanfic. Get on my level, Alan goddamn Wake. Sorry, Arcade said, I used to think I was creative. As Alan, I used to think I was creative, but unfortunately, I guess I'm just an accidental plagiarist of an alternate reality. It's true, though, is the thing. Here's the thing about that situation. That is correct. That is exactly the plot. And it's so stupid and I love it. No, I can't make it a horror story, no. Yeah, Alan is very... Also, this whole idea of, like, I need to write this thing, based on everything that's already there. It's like, bro, fanfic writers have been doing that for years. Come on. Alright. Horror story? You know what, my face is gonna stay here. I don't give a shit.
Right. The ending has to fit the genre if it's going to work. In a horror story, there are only victims and monsters.
Oh, we saw this conversation.
There must be a way to bring a hero into the story.
If there is a hero, they will ultimately pay a heavy price.
Oh my god, there's so many things. Okay, pre-existing parts.
So the ending has to be earned, set up by the story. You can't build a case without supporting evidence.
That's the only way to make it stick.
Understand. Found out Reggie was real in an alternate reality. You bet your ass I'm becoming a door. Yo, can I join you? just to witness. There's no heroes in horror, stupid, says the stupid man. Oh. No heroes in horror stories. I mean, same basic idea. Okay, Logan and Casey must survive.
The horror story take Logan and Casey. They were dragged into this.
Also, I'm sorry if my sniffles are being picked up.
Non-negotiable.
Not just them. We need to try to save everyone. I have an idea how to help Casey. He's a real person who I twisted into a character. He isn't my creation, so he isn't a suitable host
useless
for the dark
writer,
presence.
and absolutely would have put a typo in there.
Into the ending to drive that fucking thing out of him.
I love this man for how trash he is. I'm constantly giving Alan Wake shit. A, because he deserves it, but B, because it's just very funny to me how mediocre he is, and I kind of adore it. Okay, how I see the ending.
Well, if the ending has to fit the story, this is how I see it. Return is a story about a story that comes true. And I'm a character in this story.
Listen, when
Not
you put
just
it
a
like
character. The hero.
Okay, a hero. In any case, I've been through hell to be here. And this is my life. It feels earned to me that I rise above the story and be there to create the ending.
Yes. That's what we're doing. Here, now. We're figuring out the ending I need to write.
Imagine literally just like free flow writing your ending, but talking about writing your ending at the end of a book. I would be so mad if I got to the end of the book, of a book, and it was just like, okay, but like, especially one that's just like meta. It's so silly. Yeah, just write it stupid. I cannot stress enough how bad of a writer Alan is. Dead. Alan is a pussy.
This isn't
Facts.
ending, but this isn't your ending either. This is our ending.
It's very funny to
You
me.
aren't
I
the
love
only
this.
one
I do
deciding these things anymore.
genuinely love this. It's just
You're
so
right.
goofy.
I can't do this alone. Every time I write, things only get worse.
You beat this thing back in 2010, Alan. And here you are doing the same again. You're a hero too. We're in this together.
Then let's bring it home.
Beautiful. Okay, now that, oh my god, we still have more. Alan, you have to stop having things to say. This is why I said the other day that I have the strength of being able to finish things, because some people, can't. We can give a pass to the people who deal with executive dysfunction. Alan is just a bad man. And Alan thought he was so cool, saying, "Of course he did! Look at him! Look at this man right here. This man thinks he is hot shit. He thinks he is so dang talented. When really he's just
The ending will have to be dark. No
he
matter
just
what.
is.
The more people we save, the greater the cost. And the hero must pay the price.
One of the heroes. The scales always need to balance. Fuck it. Let's go with this.
Are you sure?
There's no time for anything better. Scratch could be here any second.
Then that's our ending. I have
Alright.
the clicker. I'll find a way to get it to you.
And I'll get the pages down. See you on the other side.
Oh my goodness. I am excited to see like how this is actually going to end now that we've like spent the last 15 minutes being like, how are we gonna end it? We need to find an ending. How do we find an ending? Where is our ending? It's like, all right, cool. We hyped it up. There's enough tension here. I am.
When that insane monster cloud came at me in the woods, I
This-
saw a
about this?
face inside it. Wakes. I think he was always a monster. Always Scratch.
Okay. Well, that's cool, Casey. Thanks for that insight. Still can't use those. I could write Alan's book, but Alan couldn't write Wishmaker. Facts, though. Facts, though. Also, just generally high-key excited about Wishmaker. Just saying. Whenever the cult caught someone taken over by the shadow, they cut out the monster's heart. What is it? It's true, though. Listen. We're stoked. We're excited. And I can't use this. Okay.
I need to retrace my steps back to Caldera Street Plaza. I arrived in the dark place through the fountain. Maybe I can leave that way too.
Okay. How do... I have to go back through the subway, don't I? So I need to go back the way that I came. Okay. I know what's happening. I know where I am. Do I have... Right, I don't have the map for this area.
Caldera Plaza is back through the subway. I have to hurry.
It's actually moving too quickly on it. Even trying to dedicate more time to the script because you're like, oh, we're gonna need more content after the prologue. Traditionally speaking, there does need to be more parts to a story than just the prologue. But you know, you do you. That's really exciting though. I'm glad that it's like going so well thus far. Or that like you're able to like make as much progress as you have, but that's really cool. It's very exciting. Is this? No, I have to go through the door. I know what's happening. I don't have any healing items. Yeah, I have no healing items. Yeah, here's my story. One prologue and nothing else. Me, when I try and get to any of my writing projects. You know, the difference being that nobody's super excited to see my stuff in the same way they are for yours, because I haven't put mine out in public. No, it's not to say that it's not important. Also, I mean, I could. I'd be very embarrassed, but I could. Also,
Saga,
I'm going away.
I finished it. The ending we talked about.
I have the clicker and the bullet of light. Let's do this. I have to be the one to do it.
I feel like I've always been on this journey.
Okay.
It must end here. This darkness. What lies under the surface now shifts. A play of shadows catching my eye, thrusting my face into the water.
Our boy!
It's shockingly cold, past the mirror of the surface. And I will see.
Casey?
The end. Scratch! Now!
A white, searing light of truth that for a flash pierces the shadows and reveals the hidden horror. And in that moment of silence, the whispered message finally heard.
Come on, you motherfucker! Come on! Come on!
What if there's nothing waiting to be revealed? The play of shadows fool us all, subterfuge to get our price of admission. Darkness not as a monster, but as emptiness. We're none the wiser. No answers, no truths. The hero turns to look inside, is destroyed by what he sees, and is redeemed. Saga said we're both heroes. I'll pay that price. So will she. We are here to kill the monster. I pray nothing comes after this. Nothing but sleep. This is how we win. Is it too easy? What if this is still the dark place? Another dream to wake up from, always coming back to the beginning. The memory of what came before burned away by this terrible realization. Maybe it's a mercy, forgetting. To know nothing when we loop around, back to...
Is it over? Anderson?
Fuck off. Okay. No! No! You can't just end it like that! Also, Arcade, I had to, like, mute myself because I was cackling at your comment that he thinks he's so poetic, more like pathetic. Cause, like, honestly. Ooh! I mean, we're getting a third, right? Like, we're getting a third Alan Wake. That's what this means, right? Cause, like, I need me a third now. You have a secret? I would love to watch all of that. Oh, hold on.
This part is just for you. After the haunting started, I got in touch with an organization that was still looking into what happened in Bright Falls. I went to their offices and something happened there. After I got home, I could suddenly remember everything. I remembered being trapped inside that lake. A dark ocean with echoes of myself. My my fears, my photos, inside a dark tide of madness, the same events and images looping again and again. And then I saw a light. Your light. You dove in just as I swam out. You never drowned. And you're still there reaching out. That is what the haunting is. I can see you because I've been there too. I chose to come back to the dark place. That is why I put on this exhibition. I had to mislead you, so that I could get you to where you needed to be. The only way out of your loop is destruction or ascension, light or dark. And we've covered the destruction part many times over. And we're getting to the ascension bit by bit. Time means nothing here. You'll still need to go through the loop. But I will keep showing you the images you need to see. The light you need to see. Until you're ready. Alan, I think we're getting close.
It's not a loop.
It's a spiral.
It's a spiral.
Fuck off! No! Holy shit. Do we have any more? No. What is the final draft? Wait! It's New Game Plus, right? Hold on, I have to double check this because, are we not done? Alan definitely doesn't write final drafts. He writes his one draft, and then he sends it off to somebody else to do a final draft of. Final draft, Alan Wake, what is it? It's just New Game Plus, right? More than just a second playthrough. Offers extra lore through manuscripts and video files. Introduces new content, including manuscripts and videos that provide fresh insights into the story and characters. Okay, I mean, like, that'd be good, and I'm gonna be doing that. But hi, Fruity. But I can do that on my own time. Okay. Holy shit. You had to steal credit from a woman. Okay, yeah, no, here, let's talk about this for a second. You were here just very ill. No, that's okay. I'm glad you were here though. When I started, not that I expected you to, like, show up. I never expect you to show up, but there was a moment where, like, when I didn't see you, I was like, I'm gonna finish this without Fruity, but, like, that's okay, but I was a little sad about it. So I'm glad that you were here for it. I'm sorry that you're so sick though. I hope you can feel better soon. I'm sending you mental soup. I'm sending you mental soup to make you feel better. Yeah, so, you know, they had their dual ending, the ending that they wrote together, but, you know, of course we're not gonna... No, that's just me going off on a silly little thing. I mean, we're gonna get a third now, right? Like, that's... We're in agreement about that, right? I mean, at this point, like, with the first one, had we not gotten a second game? There was no... I mean, there was no confirmation that we were gonna get a second game, and it was fine. Listen, the first game, very silly, very goofy. I'm now too hot because I've gotten, like, super hyped up about this. You know, it was fine as it was. I love the fact that they have come out with a second one. I fucking love this game. Despite all of the mechanics issues that I was having with it, which I very much stand by. I've genuinely, like, enjoyed them just, like, fully leaning into the nonsense story. I love the fact that they, like, are taking it serious enough that it is compelling, but they're not taking it so seriously that they're like saying anything with a particularly straight face. I mean, they've been poking fun at themselves from the get-go, and I adore that. Like towards the beginning when we started playing as Alan, and like there was that interview with, you know, Sam Lake, where they're like, or no, I guess it was just with Alan, where they're like, so are we finally gonna find out what it's not a lake, it's an ocean means? And Alan was like, oh, as he usually is. And just like making callbacks to that constantly. It's just been like very, very cute. Just the general, like, I don't know, like I said, like it's serious. They take it serious enough that they've like put out like this really great product, but it's not so serious that they're like, you can't laugh at this story. I think they know that it is very silly, but you can tell that they like really care about it, and I love that. I am super here for that. It was very fun. I loved the fact that Tor and Odin came back. I loved the new characters that we got to meet. It was really fun having like Alex Casey be there. Because it's just very fun watching Sam Lake be an absolute ham. But also it's just like, you know, it's just a fun inclusion. Saga's like wonderful. I really liked her as a protagonist. There were a couple of points where she was a little silly, but it's like, I don't know, she's a nice way to keep things grounded in that, you know, she's this character who doesn't necessarily know about all this like weird nonsense, but she's like come in and is open to it, while still trying to like rationalize everything. Whereas you've got Alan, who's just like full like, no, it's all the dark place, silliness. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I do, but I don't know if it's coming through properly. The Koskalas, I fucking loved them. I'm still like heartbroken about about Yako. I'm so sad that Yako got fucking nuked. But they were a lot of fun. Like the Koskala brothers were a delight. I really enjoyed that. It's not a lake, it's a spiral now. It's not me, it's my spiral. I see what you did there. What else? I liked like seeing, like meeting all of the characters at the nursing home. Putting a face to Patmine was really cool. And just getting to see like some of the, you know, the old timers in town was nice. Welcome to my twisted spiral. Yeah, I don't know, like I can forgive some of the mechanic issues, just because everything else was so tight and so fun. The musical section, still the musical section. You know, the Herald of Darkness bit, fucking loved it. Will often catch myself like humming that song to myself because it's an absolute banger. Loved it. And just like all of the music in general was like super great. It was cool like having as many like musical numbers as there were through it. Getting to see Ati sing was really fun. You ever do the funny spin around it in game, or have I personally? IRL obs. I do like low-key want to learn it. If I do, I will share it with everyone. Do not worry. You will all witness this. It just looks very funny and very fun, and I'm here for that. I'm trying to think of like what else. I don't know. Overall, this was just like a really good game. I say this and I'm like looking at my desktop background right now, and it's just a bunch of Warland Doors and Allens. It's just a bunch of Allens. And that's pretty funny to me. Yeah, no, this is cool. I'm definitely gonna do like the final draft, you know, the New Game Plus, and like see what's different. I'll probably like talk about it in in Discord, in the like the stream spoilers stuff, if anyone gives a shit. Otherwise, I'll just experience it for myself and have fun with that. This was a lot of fun, and I do hope that they like. I know that they're like still putting out a bunch of like fixes for it. I hope that like the map problems, all of the map problems get resolved sometime soon. The load times have been better with the map as a whole, but like there's still been some problems of like certain icons like not showing up when they should, or some remaining when they shouldn't. Yeah, one day they'll fix the floor, I think. I mean, I can't speak to it. I know we had like issues with it like a couple of streams ago. Maybe even last stream. I don't think it last stream actually, as I think about it. But hopefully like some of those load-in issues, because I didn't like falling through the world. But at the same time, like some of those areas are so huge that I get why some haven't like loaded in properly, or like loaded fast enough or whatever. It is a little frustrating. Fall through the world. Don't like that. Overall though, like I loved this. I had so much fun with this game. This has been a good year for horror as a whole. Because we had this, we had Resident Evil 4, the remake, which just was great. I had so much fun with it. I think that was like one of my top played games this year. Was RE4. And I think Dead Space, the Dead Space remake came out this year too, right? Like granted, like RE4 and Dead Space were remakes, but like they did such a wonderful job with it. With both of them. They were both so much fun. And lots of really good indie stuff this year too. I don't know, it's just been a really good year for like horror video games. So I've been eating well this year. Fuck. Heart of the Killer was this year? There we go. Good indie game. Blackout Hospital was this year. Blasphemous 2 came out this year, which like was really good. God, fuck, what else? Sorry, I like need to look at Steam real fast. I mean, because we're like closing in on the end of the year, right? I don't necessarily want to do like a recap stream and like talk about all the things that we did, but like we can kind of do that now, I guess. Cage Game of the Year awards. Yeah, it's the only game of the year awards that you really need to pay attention to, actually. Mostly because I'm awarding awards to every game that I played this year that was fun. You're all winners to me. Here, let me actually just like look at my review real fast, because it more or less covered everything that I did. Yeah, Resident Evil 4 was my third top played video game. I guess this was the year that we did like the Valheim servers, so that took up a lot of time. My top games were Valheim, Binding of Isaac, Resident Evil 4, Sunhaven, Blasphemous, and Blackout Hospital. I do hate the fact that Demon Turf made its way up there. That is a shit game. Do not play Demon Turf. What did we... Elden Ring came out last year, right? Weird that Sunhaven was the top one for the both of us. Strange how that happened. We kind of went a little hard with that. Do not buy Demon Turf. Do not be Demon Turf. Yeah, Demon Turf is there because it personally offended me and I had to kill it. I 100%ed Demon Turf because it did personally annoy me, and I just needed to prove to myself that I was better than it. Do not be like me. I played a lot of Resident Evil Village this year too. I know it didn't come out this year, but played a lot of that. Fuck, this was the year that we played Vampire too. Vampire as well. Vampire. There you go. I said it for you. I did the thing. God, what else? just telling me every game that I played, so it's not particularly helpful. Scorn came out this year, right? No, it came out last year. It came out at the end of last year. So I guess we would have played it the end of last year. No, we played a lot of games this year. I do need to like replay through Tiny Bunny. It won EGI's coveted most holes award. Yeah, I can see that. It sure, oh boy, it sure had holes. Yeah, no, it came out last year. I think we might have like, I think we played it in October and some in November. And then we might have finished it in January because we like took a break or something. Regardless, there were just like a lot of good games in the last year-ish. Again, not all of these came out this year, but like it's good stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's been fun. I've like really enjoyed the things that we've done this year. It's cool. It didn't win wettest game, but was a hot contender. What won wettest game? That was too many W's. While you're telling me which one the wettest video game, I think the next game that we're gonna do on stream is, what is it? Killer Frequency. Yeah, because I finally picked it up. It was on sale, and I was like, listen. Damp Man, you say? But we're gonna do Killer Frequency next because I've been like very excited about this game, and I've avoided all streams, all let's plays of it on YouTube. I've ignored all of it because I want to go in as blind as possible. I did watch like a demo for it like ages ago. But I know very little. Yeah, I mean, I just know you work at a radio station, and you have to answer, you know, listeners' calls and help them avoid a killer, and that just seems like, it seems like a lot of fun. So Killer Frequency is going to be our next game that we play. General list of things. I do plan on finishing Rule of Rose, on YouTube at some point. I was gonna do it on stream, but it's been so long since we played it that I know I'm gonna need, like, some time to remember how to play, and I don't want to make you all watch me struggle with that. I think after Killer Frequency, we'll probably go back to some of our, like, more retro games, because I do want to do Haunting Ground at some point. I've been thinking about that a lot, especially this year. I've been thinking about it a lot, just, like, with the general state, of the world, and how bodily autonomy is not necessarily, is something that should not be taken for granted right now. Right. Yeah, no, I started playing Rule of Rose because I was like, I'm just having some, like, real hardcore nostalgia for some, like, old horror games. Yeah, horror games that are like, but what if you had a dog? And, I am better for it. I am so excited to be hanging out with, what is his name? Huey? We love Brown. Listen, we love Brown and Rule of Rose, but Huey? My darling? My love? My sweet furry friend? So yeah, I would like to do Haunting Ground soon. Probably after Killer Frequency, but we'll see. And then, yeah, Fruity and I will keep doing, our Silent Hill nuns. I still need to figure out how we're gonna do the HD collection / work up the mental fortitude to be ready to do the HD collection. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's like anything else to say. TLDR, I'm excited that I am I'm well on the road to getting the surgery. Hysterectomy. Let's fucking go. That's gonna solve it's not gonna solve all my problems, but it's gonna be like, it's gonna make a huge difference to my quality of life as a whole. I'm very excited about that. Oh, Arcade. I don't know why I said it like that. Guess what? I love you too. I love all y'all. Yeah. I announced it at the beginning of the stream, but like that was my doctor's appointment today. I went in because I thought it was going to be a consultation. We were going to talk about it. Wait as an option, but like I got in. We waited as an option. For like 2 seconds, and they're like, yeah, I'd like, if you think that this is the thing that you want to do, like, I think that would be an absolutely valid option, without even doing the whole, like, what if you change your mind about having children nonsense. They were just like, yeah, no, like, let's fucking do it. Let's get some pre-op questions done. Let's do, like, you know, the screening for, like, whether or not we need to have, like, a consultation with an anesthesiologist. Here are the things that you need to do so that we can, like, get the ball rolling with actually scheduling the surgery. And it was great. And it was so great. It was so, like, it was so good. It went so well, and just was reaffirming in, like, all the best possible ways. Yeah, get the part that doesn't work and hurts me out. Let's get that shit out of here. It hurts me physically and psychologically. Just get it out of here. So I'm very excited about that, and like I will probably be like keeping everyone updated about that, just because like this is, I don't know, it's a big thing for me, and like it is something that I've been trying to like get done for the last like almost 10 years now. So it's just it's exciting that it's like actually happening. We're like at the point where it is a thing that's occurring. I don't know, this last year has been a lot in a lot of ways, but it's also just been like really great in a lot of others, especially in regards to like my health as a whole. Like I've found a care team that like actually gives a shit, and wants to like help me be as healthy as I can be. You know, I'm still disabled and I'm still chronically ill. These things will not be changing, but all the things that I'm doing are like helping with like my quality of life. And that's really nice. I don't want to get like too emotional about things. Not that it's not appropriate, but just like I'm tired is all. But just very happy, and I don't know, it's cool to be able to like share that with everyone. I'm rambling about everything because I'm just generally very excited. Alan Wake 2, fucking phenomenal. So good. I loved it. I loved it a lot. Yeah, this was rad. And I'm definitely gonna play through again very soon. I know my dad was like interested in seeing it, so maybe I'll do my New Game Plus playthrough with him. In the end, he truly was the Alan wokest of them all. I don't think that's true, Arcade. I don't think he was the wokest of all. Unless we consider letting a woman right alongside him woke. No, I'm kidding. It was great. I loved this game. I loved our horrible, stinky, mediocre man. I loved Saga. It just seems like everyone had a good time putting this together. He won't ever clean his ass because he thinks that would make him gay. That's canon. It's true. It is true. Everyone knows that Alan Wake stinks of unwashed ass and Old Spice. And with that, we are going to end stream. Who's online right now? You know, let's go say hi. I know he's got like 1 million people watching him right now. But we are gonna go raid John. John Wolf is currently streaming, and it's been a minute. And I think he's doing a charity stream tomorrow. So if you're gonna tag along, then, you know, here are our raid messages. The first one is for everyone. The second one is for subs. It's got, you know, my channel emotes on it. I don't know, just thanks for being here. This was fun. Thanks thanks for sharing in my joy with my good news, and also in this like wild game that I've had a lot of fun with. It's been very enjoyable. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see y'all next time, I guess. Whenever that happens to be. Until then, take care of your dang selves. I love y'all. Have a good rest of your time zone. Bye, friends.